Welcome back to Hotline. I just arrived in Ibiza to test some foils and head into a speedy recovery from my broken feet. But I thought it might be a good idea to give you my top 5 tips for traveling with surfboards. Here we go. Tip number 1, and I think this is the most important one, travel light. And this might not only work for your board bag, but for the rest of your luggage as well. Only take the things you really need and make it easy for the people at the airport to handle your board bag. This board bag right now packs my prone foil board and my foil gear, mast and some additional stuff I will show you later on. It's 14.5 kilograms. It's easy to be lifted, it's easy to carry it around, and I think it ends in a lower risk of your board getting broken. The workers at the airport, sometimes they know what a surfboard is, but they might not know how fragile a prone or a wing foil board is. And if it's heavy, 30-35 kilograms with all your stuff and luggage packed into one board bag, they might just pull it off the table or pull it off the car because it's too heavy to be lifted. You might get away if you're a kite surfer with a twin tip, but if you're a surfer, a regular surfer, prone surfer, wing foil or whatever, with a fragile board, try to keep it below 20 kilograms so everyone can lift it and carry it around with ease. Tip number 2, and I know it's expensive, but get yourself a good board bag. If you don't want to buy one, try to borrow one from a friend. I have several board bags, and then I invest in 2 board bags because they are so important, and breaking your board is way more expensive than buying a good board bag. I usually get one slightly bigger than my board. This one is for my prone board. I have one for my foil boards. I have one for my prone surfboards. I have one for my downwind board. So like I said, I have quite a lot. And on the small boards, I actually get away with just a day board bag. This is not a travel board bag because I wrap something around the board and then the protection becomes pretty much the same thickness or even more than you would have on a big surfboard bag. But I can still use this one as a day board bag here in Ibiza while I'm traveling. So it kind of suits 2 purposes. I use it wrapped in something else for traveling, and then I use it on my daily surf routine here in Ibiza, traveling around the island on top of a car or inside a car as a daily cover. I know it's expensive, but it pays off. Get yourself a board bag. Tip number 3, and this is Tetris style packaging within the board bag. Think about how you want to pack your board, how you want to pack everything so it fits nicely together. Everything needs to be well protected and not too heavy. For example, if you're having a mast with a mast plate attached, it's really hard to put in a board bag, and I think the best part where it fits is here. So the base plate overlaps the surfboard with something in between the board and the base plate and something in between the end of the board bag and the base plate. I sometimes even put things like a mast, heavy stuff, something that would stick out or have a risk of poking into my surfboard. I put it into my luggage and not in the board bag, so everything is packed neatly. So let me give you a quick rundown how I packed my surfboard for this trip. It's a family trip to Ibiza. We're staying here for almost 3 weeks. Like I said, this board bag is actually not made for air flight traveling. It's a day bag and it's a DIY project, so I changed it a little bit. It's from the days where there were no foil board bags, so I made a cut here so I can fit my foil attached on the board into the board bag and put it on the top of a rental car. But let's have a quick look. I'm just gonna undo this, open the zippers, and maybe we turn it around. I think that's a better way. And you can see I added some extra protection, and this is actually because it's a DIY board bag. There's nothing in the back here because I made a cut. I added just some air bubble wrap, and then there's some swimming gear from my kids, my leash. I took the wetsuits from my 2 sons around the tail of my prone surfboard. On top, packed nice flat. I have 2 front wings, a mast, and because I'm using a subfoil mast, a Puma system, I can take it apart and there's nothing sticking out. So you can see this is all nice and flat. And let's open this up real quick. This insert is actually from a Mystic bag that came with, it's a big bag made for wing foiling, but I just took it out and I'm using it. I have like more stuff in here. There's front wings in here, things that are more fragile or tend to poke into other things. I gave it an extra wrap in a beach towel. So this is a base plate. Just gonna put it over here. You can see the fuselage, because it's heavy, it's got an extra wrap in another beach towel. There's a cord bag here. This is having all my tools. That's all I need. They're really handy. I love them. And that's pretty much it. Stabilizer, front wing, and something else. I actually took off the neck from my wetsuit, which is underneath my board for additional protection, because the zipper, like even a small zipper, it's a metal zipper, might apply pressure to the board. So I took it off. So you see, this was the top layer of protection on top of the board. The whole board itself is wrapped into a towel. Here's my straps. So let's slide this out. So you see, this was wrapped into my surf poncho. Here we have the board, and underneath the board is my wetsuit as an extra level of protection. And like I said, I took off the zipper, or if you can't take it off, put it on the outside so the little metal zipper will not poke into your board. Really easy. Tetris style packing, thinking, planning, having a blast. Tip number 4, and it's always good to sit down and take a minute for this one, is plan ahead. Don't only think about the flight, but think about the whole journey, the trip you're taking, and how the board bag will affect your traveling. If you're changing locations a lot, you need to repack and move on to another place and unpack, and this can be quite a hassle. So think about that as well. Think about how a board bag fits into your style of journey. If you're backpacking and you're having a board bag and maybe an extra bag, it's really painful. I've done that for 2 years straight in a line with surfboards and a backpack, and I know what I'm talking about. Travel light and think and plan everything. So there's not too much stuff in my backpack, and I packed it for traveling on an aircraft. It's well protected. And once I arrive at the airport, I know exactly what to do. This one goes on top of the car. So for me, it's really important to have these little loops on a board bag so I can attach it to a car with just 2 straps, and I don't need a roof rack. So I can take any rental car, and once I've arrived, because I planned ahead, I know exactly where my straps are. It's the last thing I put in the board bag, and it's going to be the first thing I take out. And now I'm ready to put this on the car. I'm taking out the towels. Like I said, this is a day pack. I'm taking out the extra protection, slide the board out, and then put everything I don't need somewhere else, slide the board back in. Because I changed this board bag a little bit, I can use it with the mast sticking out, and I can put it on the roof like that with the additional strap holes here and the strap. It's really convenient, not only for flying, but for my whole trip, because I planned ahead. Tip number 5, but I still think it's an important one: take off your carrying straps and add a name tag. Your carrying straps might just in the traffic on the airport, taking it into the luggage car and out, might just get tangled somewhere. So it's safer to take them off. Put them on your board bag if you need them, or like me, if you don't need them, leave them at home. Adding a name tag is just another level of security. Add one on the outside, add one on the inside, or do it like me. I have a business card. I slide my business card into the board bag, and it happened to me. The luggage tag came off. They come off quite easily. It came off during the flight on the airport. I don't know, but my board bag got lost, and because I added an additional name tag, they were able to call me and I had my board bag back within a week. It still sucks if you're traveling somewhere and your gear is lost for a week, but it's way better than having no gear at all. So travel safe, take off the strap, add a name tag. So that's my top 5 for traveling with your board bag on an aircraft and on your trip around the country. If you have questions, use the comments, feel free to contact me and I'll get back to you. If you haven't, subscribed, because that really helps me. And I think I'm pretty close to reaching 1,000 followers, and I think that is the point where YouTube finally pays you some money, like me, pays me some money to make these videos, and there's going to be heaps more coming up. Slowly recovering, so I'll be back on the surfboard maybe tomorrow on a prone surfboard, catching some waves. There's some swell coming in. I have a Subfoil Razor Pro 975 in the board bag, which I've never tried before, and I'm really much looking forward to make a really decent review on this front wing. There's heaps more coming up, some ozone wings and a new Vantage bed wing, which I'm testing shortly. Also the Subfoil torpedo board and heaps more. So just subscribe. It's good for you, I hope. It's good for me, and hopefully see you back on this channel very soon. Take care.